One. Hey everybody, welcome back to Bible Fun with the Duns. Today we're in the book of Luke. It's freezing outside, but I'm excited to start this because it feels a whole lot like Christmas because this is all about Jesus' life. And these first few chapters are specifically about his birth. So we're in Luke chapter 1, verses 1 through 45. I'm really excited to dive into this. So this first little section, Luke starts off and he dedicates the book to Theophilus. Now, we don't know if he's writing this to somebody named Theophilus or if he's using it, or if he's using that word as for its actual meaning, which a Theophilus is somebody who loves God and seeks him out and all that stuff. But since obviously I'm not sure if anybody's name is Theophilus who's watching this. My name is not Theophilus, but I'm going to take this as a Theophilus and say he's writing this to me as I'm seeking God and trying to learn more about him. So anyway, the actual story kind of picks up and we see this angel named Gabriel, and he comes to Zechariah, who ends up being Jesus' uncle. And so he goes to Zechariah and he's like, "Hey man, you're gonna have a baby." And he says, what are you talking about? Me and my wife are super old. We can't have kids. We've tried and we kind of gave up. He's like, "All right, well, I don't know what to tell you. You're gonna have a daggone baby, and because you doubted me and you doubted God, you're gonna be mute until you have the baby." So Zechariah's just like, "Well, dang it." And so he's just mute until they actually end up having the baby, who is John the Baptist. And we're going to hear a lot more about him in this chapter, actually. But anyway, this next little section, we see the same angel, Gabriel, and he's going to Joseph. And Joseph is engaged to Mary. And he says, "Hey, Joseph, I need you to marry Mary," which sounds kind of funny, but I need you to marry her. And Joseph, he's kind of hesitant at this point because he finds out that Mary's pregnant and they're not even married yet. So he's just gonna quietly say, "Hey, I don't think we should get married." But Gabriel comes to him and he's like, "Hey, y'all are gonna get married because that's what they need happening, right?" So yeah, that happens. He comes to him in a dream. He tells him that. And then this next little part we pick up, it's this last part of what we read today. But Mary goes and she sees Elizabeth, who is Zechariah's wife. I have to think about that for a second. And Mary and Elizabeth are sisters. And so Mary's super excited to tell her the news that she's pregnant, and then she goes to see Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is super excited to tell Mary that she's pregnant. And so it's kind of like how you have those weird family reunions where two people are pregnant and everybody's just excited and everybody's they're the center of attention. That's kind of what's going on right here. And kind of where I get my takeaway from, one of my takeaways, this is kind of my favorite part, where they see each other, and even inside of Elizabeth's belly, we see John the Baptist. He gets excited, and it says he's filled with the Holy Spirit, and he kind of jumps. And so I think that's really cool that even from the womb, Elizabeth or Jesus and John the Baptist, they kind of have this connection. And so that kind of just leaves me wondering if that can happen, then we should be really super forever changed when we come into contact with Jesus in our lives, because that's what happens here. So that's kind of my first main takeaway. My second main takeaway comes from the beginning part of this, and it's where God kind of makes this promise to Elizabeth and Zechariah that they're gonna have this baby, John the Baptist. And so Zechariah, he doesn't believe this because they've tried to have kids, they wanted to have kids, and it just didn't work out. So they just gave up on this. And that was many years back. So they probably haven't even thought about having kids in a really long time. So here they are at grandparents' age. They're really old. And God's made this promise to them that they're going to have a baby. And they think it's crazy. But it actually ends up happening. And so I just love to see how God's promises, they always come true. What he promises, that's he's gonna do it. He doesn't go back on his promises, and I just love that. But the hard part that we have to come to terms with is it's not always on our own timing, and we see God's timing is perfect, and that doesn't always mean that it's what we want exactly in the moment. And that also makes me think about the promise of the second coming of Jesus, how we're sitting here, it's been 2,000 years since Jesus promised he was going to come back. But we see over and over again, not just right here, but throughout the whole entire Bible, this whole Bible, Jesus promises, like God's promises, all of them, they come true. And so if all of those come true, like we have a pretty good track record. Like we can trust God. Jesus is coming back. So that's just a little bit more encouragement for the future. And I'm loving Luke. I know we just started, but I love this book. I love its stories. I love Christmas. I love Jesus. I love everything. I hope y'all have a great day. We'll see y'all tomorrow, and we're going to finish off chapter 1. Bye.